Good afternoon. My name is Jack, and today I'll be showing you guys how to print models vertically and how to shell out models. So here we can see a end product from the end of this video. It has a solid base to be able to be printed vertically, and in addition to that, it's shelled out to save a significant portion of resin. A little bit of background about myself. My name is Jack Donahue. Uh, I'm a mechanical engineering student and I have experience in an orthodontic lab dealing with all the 3D printing aspects and STL processing aspects associated with that. I also offer a STL processing service if you wish to delegate any of your STL processing. Let's get into the tutorial. First step is to bring your scan into Meshmixer. So here I have my upper arch, and I'm going to use the Edit and then Hollow tool. Once this loads, you can see the options over here. This offset distance is how thick the walls of your hollow are going to be. I suggest anything over 2. We've had print failures with 1.5, and then some of my clients like 2.5. My personal preference is 2 millimeters. I feel like that gives a good strength to the model, also without using up too much resin. You want to set this solid accuracy to 512, which is max, and set this mesh density to 512 as well. You don't have to worry about any of the holes. If you're printing vertically, which I'll show you later on in the video, you can totally ignore this. If you are using your resin printer and you are not printing vertically, then you'll need to make some holes in the model so you can actually drain that resin out. So here we'll update the hollow, and then this might take a minute or two to load, and we'll get to the next step. Great, so now that our hollow has updated, we can click accept. So from here, what we want to do is plane cut. We want to align this plane with our arch, with our teeth, in a preferred manner. We want this edge to be 90 degrees vertical whenever we print. So that will come later. First step is ensure there's enough gum line all the way around. We can bring it down a little lower. And then you can even get fancy with it and rotate it so it's even on each side. Just to make sure that you have a good mold and you can work well with it. So here, this works well for me, and we can click accept. So, if one issue you might run into is you might not have enough gum line below the teeth for that plane cut to properly get rid of that bottom. So what you can do is, I'll show you how to do this in a later step. You can go to 3dbuilder, which is this app right here. You can download it on the Windows Store, and with that you can extrude down and create a bigger base, and then do this exact same step with that bigger base, and that'll give you a larger cavity here. What I like to do here, since we're printing vertically, and if you think about it, the printer is going to print from this side up, so we have an overhang right here. So just to be safe, what I do is I take the selector tool just by pressing S or by clicking select right here, and we actually want to highlight all of this area that's an overhang, right? And so this does not have to be accurate at all. So what I do is I do about this, and then I bring it up all the way to this edge on the overhang. Again, this does not have to be perfect because this is not actually in the outer edge. So whenever you take a mold, you're never going to see this. So what we do is we can press F here, and then we can go up to the replace fill type and do flat minimal. And so if you see this here, whenever we print from this direction, so from this point of view, the negative X direction, it's going to have material to build up on, and so there won't be any overhangs, and you'll have far less likely to have a print failure if you're using resin tank. If you are using a traditional filament type printer, you will not need to add this section if you're printing horizontally. So here we'll click accept, and this here is all we need to do on Meshmixer. What I'll do is I'll get rid of these attachments on my own time, and then I can make a video how to remove these attachments if anybody's interested. So from here, what we want to do is we want to open up 3dbuilder. Once we get here, we want to open up our desired file. In this case, it's my upper. As you can see, I cleaned up the file a little bit, got rid of some of the scan errors, took off the attachments, and so it's all ready to go. First step, just to make things easier, since we have a slanted, since our model is not firmly planted on the ground, just make the angles easier. We're going to select the arch, and then we're going to go to Object and Settle. Now what this does is it mimics physics to drop the model so it's firmly planted on the ground. From here, what we want to do is we want to reorient the model to a vertical orientation. And so what I want to do is I want to line up the model so that when I print, it's going to be able to have the best vertical result. So once I have it vertically aligned, I can drag it over the axis, so all of the model is over. So what we're looking for here is this back side of the gums. We're going to end up extruding down. So whenever I orient this, I want to make sure that there's a flat line that gives me a good extrusion. From this point, it's pretty simple. All we do is we edit and we extrude down, and we bring this plane below the last molar, or below whatever we don't care about. So this here looks good to me. If I were to go back, I can rotate this arch a little more to get a little better surface area here, but this on any resin printer should be able to print perfectly well. So now that it's extruded down, we can make sure everything is all up to standard. If we look, we can have full definition. We did not change the molars at all. We did not change anything with the actual teeth. So this looks good to me. You can customize it any way you want. From here, what I would usually do is I would emboss a name here, which is pretty easy to do. You just rotate it and then type in and then you can emboss it there. You can do that before or after you extrude. The angling and the perception of how well it turns out is easier when it's horizontal, but there's no specific order for that. So now we can do a quick check on the arch. It looks good from here. I don't see anything that would cause issues. Seems pretty printable. There's no overhangs, no issues here. And then if we look from the inside, I don't see anything that would cause trouble on the print. You can see now that it's in vertical format, you can see why we added this support structure here, so that when it prints up, it's not going to have this overhang to deal with whenever it runs into that. I hope you guys learned something from the video. I'm not sure if anybody else has the same technique. I figured this out over a few hundred files of practice, and when one of my clients asked me for vertical prints.